then only it is complete program. So if main function is not there, then we can say it is a part of the program. Okay, so I have written the part of the program where only sub function is there, that is called sum. So you just compare with the syntax. Okay, so what the syntax says: return type, function name, argument list. That is the first line, right? So I have written int. Int is a return type. Sum is a function name. Int a comma b, it is a parameter list. So a and b are parameters here. Then body of the function. So body of the function may include a declaration statement, any calculations, and one return statement. And return statement is also optional here. Okay, so I can say int c is a variable declaration. C is equals to a plus b. So this is one executable statement. So return the value of c. So some explanation I've given here. In the above function definition, so this complete thing is function definition. Okay, that is starting from int sum to last closing brace. This complete thing is function definition. In the above function definition, int is a return type, sum is a function name, nothing but identifier. You have to follow the identifier rules to write the function name. The variables a and b are called parameters, and in particular these are called formal parameters. So we have two things: actual parameters and formal parameters. So these two are called as formal parameters. The variable c is a local variable, so we will discuss about local variable further. So return is a keyword. Int sum, int a comma int b, function header. So this much it is present in this example. Okay, so once again we will look into this. So int is a data type, return type. Sum is a function name, that is an identifier. A and b are the parameters of type integer, and these are also called as formal parameters. C is a local variable. Okay, c equal to a plus b, some calculation. Return is a keyword. So this first line is called as function header or signature. Okay, so we will see one example with respect to the functions. Okay, so program to find the sum of two numbers by using user defined functions. Actually we can write even without functions also, because just to add, right, c equal to a plus b for it, it's enough. But we will see how to use functions. This program, other than the logic and calculation, we have to know how to use functions. That's all. Okay, uh, just a minute. Okay, fine. So here I have written two functions: main function and sum function. So you look at the comment here, at the closing brace I have written end of main. So end of main means end of the main function. Okay, end of main function. So in the main function, so enter two numbers, scan of percent d a comma b. Okay, s is equals to sum of a comma b. See here, sum is a function name. This line you have to look into it. Sum is a function name. Just remember this one. R is equals to sqrt. You have taken, right? In the same format I have written here sqrt of n. So in the same format I have written s is equals to sum of a comma b, or p is equals to pow of x comma y. The same format I have written sum of a comma b. So when program control comes to this line, it is transferred to the sum function. Then sum function starts working. Okay, so starting of the sum till the end of the sum function, it starts working. Okay, so we will see this tracing part how it happens. Okay. Ah. So when you trace the program by writing the program in the book, okay, or on the computer screen, okay, in MS Word and all, you write side by side so that it will be very easy to trace the program. When you type in the editor, you write one below the other: main function, then afterwards sum function, or first sum function, afterwards main function. You can write in any way. Okay, you write in any way, but program execution starts from main function only. Okay, when you trace the program, better to write side by side so that it will be very easy for us to trace the program. So I have written main function on the left and sum function on the right side. Side by side I have written. So this complete thing, that is including main function and sum function, this complete thing is called as one file, that is C program file. So which includes two things: main function as well as sum function. Okay, complete thing is called as one file, that is C programming language file, that is given sum.c. You look at the coding here, sum.c, that is the file name. Okay, it is a complete file. In that file we have two functions: one is main function and another one is sum function. Okay, So out of these two functions, one function will be called as calling function, another one will be called as called function. I will tell you how it is. Okay, just remember this. Out of two functions, one function will be called as calling function, that is ing. Another function will be called as called, called, called function. Okay, so in this particular example, main function is called as calling. Some function is called as called. You just remember, main function is called as calling. Some function is called as called, called. Okay, and if you consider main function from starting line to end of the closing brace, the complete thing is called as main function definition. Similarly, for some function also, starting line till closing brace, it is called as some function definition. So main function definition, some function definition. So some of the things you have to remember. So main function definition, some function definition, calling function, called function. So in that way, you have to remember some terms. So we will see how it works. Okay. So starting, it executes a program execute starts from main function. Okay. So when you look at the main function, we have three variables A, B, and S. Enter two numbers. It is displayed on the screen. So we have to enter two values. Let us consider A and B variables which store the values. So you look at the output. We will come to know what values we are entering. So 10 and 20. Okay. So first value 10 is stored in variable A. Second value 20 is stored in variable B. I hope you got it. First value 10 is stored in variable A. Second value 20 is stored in variable B. Okay. So when program control comes to this particular line, S is equals to sum of A comma B. Okay. Program control should transfer to the function sum because it is a function name. So whenever program control comes to the function name, so it has to transfer to that function. So in case of clear screen also, CLR, SCR, when program control comes to clear screen function, it will transfer to that function. So this function is present in cynivo.h, console input output dot header. In that file it is present. Similarly, get ch also, get the character from the keyboard. When program control comes to this function, it will be transferred to the header file console input output dot header. Okay. But when it comes to the SUM, it is not transferring to any other file. It is in the same file only because we have written in the same file. In sum.c only I have written this function. So program control is transferred to the sum function. When the program control is transferred, as I said, along with the program control, one more thing is there, value part is there. So program control with value or without value. So in this case, program control is transferred with value because A and B values are there. So A value and B value is transferred to the sum function. So when it transfers, you look at the arrow mark, this A value is copied to the A variable which is present in the sum function header, and B value is copied to the B variable which is present in the sum function header. So A value to A value, B value to B value. So it is not a rule that you have to give the same variable name. So here you can change it. Instead of writing int A comma B, you can write int X comma Y. The thing is data type should match. Okay. You look at the data type of A and B. So A and B belongs to integer. So here also it should be integer. Data type should match. Variables can be same or different. You can use same variable name or different variable name. It's not a problem. Okay. But how many variables are you using here? Same number of variables you use. That means one-to-one copy. So A is copied to A, B is copied to B. If you're using X and Y, A will be copied to X, B will be copied to Y. So once we get the values, so what are the values here? 10 and 20. Okay, A value is 10, B value is 20. Now this function starts executing. All the lines of this function starts executing. So there is a variable C. C is equals to A plus B. So A plus B is nothing but 10 plus 20. So return C. So this some C value is returned back to the main function. So as in the case of sqrt and POW, so we are getting some value from sqrt function and POW function. Similarly, we are getting some value from some function. So 10 plus 20 is 30. So this value 30 is returned back to the main function. So now if you look at this particular line, S is equals to sum of A comma B, we got the value 30. So that will be present in the RHS part of this expression. That is statement S is equals to sum of A comma B. From RHS it is copied to LHS variable. Now S contains S contains value 30. S is a variable, it contains value 30. Okay. So in the printf statement, say I have not written any English statements here, just %d with plus symbol. So here we will see how it displays. %d plus %d is equals to %d. So three format specifiers are there. Three parameters you have to use, A, B and S. Number of format specifiers should match with the number of arguments. So three format specifiers are there, %d, %d, A comma B comma C. A will be copied in first place of %d. B value will be copied in second %d symbol. S value is copied in third %d symbol. So if you look at the output, 10 is a value, 20 is a b value, 30 is the c value, that is s value. Okay, whereas plus and equals to symbols are printed as it is without any change. In place of first percent d, we are getting value 10. In place of second percent d, we are getting value 20. In place of third percent d, we are getting value 30. So this is how we came to know how to use functions, that is user defined functions. Now I think you can take two screenshots here. One is program with output, another one is program with tracing. Okay, so now you take this screenshot. Okay. Okay, so we'll move further. So when we deal with functions, we have two functions. One is called calling function and another one is called as called function. That means when we are writing a C program, at least two functions will be there. If you don't write any sub functions also, two functions will be there. Like in case of main function. So if you consider only main function, let us not consider that sum function. That means we will not consider that we have written sum function. If you consider only main function, so in this also at least two functions we have. That is main function and clear screen function, or main function and getch function. I hope you are getting main function and CLR SCR function, or main function and getch function. That means whenever we write the programs in C and C++, at least we come across two functions, that is main function along with clear screen or getch. If you are not writing even getch and clear screen also, then how we have to consider is like you consider in this way: operating system and main function. Okay, so operating system acts like a function because it has some functionality. So operating system means it does some job. So you can consider operating system as one function and main is another function. If you're writing clear screen and getch, then you consider main function and clear screen, or main function and getch. if we are not writing anything in the main function, just if you consider this much, this is the program. If you are considering only this much, then you consider operating system as one function and main function is another function. Okay, so whenever we deal with functions, so we have two functions, one is called as calling and another one is called. So when we consider two functions, one will be called as calling function, that is calling, and another one will be called as called, called, called function. Okay, so in the above example, main function is called as calling and the function sum is considered as calling. So how we have to decide this means, like, see, if you look at this program, when you write some sub function, that is sum, if I want the sum function to make it work or to do some job, then what I have to do? From main function only I have to go, because C++ programs execution starts from main. So when main function starts executing, any other sub functions will execute only if main function calls that function, otherwise it will not execute. Okay, so if I want to make this sum function to work, then with the help of main function I am doing it, where s is equals to sum of a comma b. So s is equals to sum of a comma b, this statement is causing some function to work. Okay, that means you are writing s is equals to sum of a comma b in main function. So indirectly what I can say, main function is making some function to work. Okay, of course this line is causing some function to work, but where is this line? This line is present in main function. So what we can say, main function is making some function to work, to do its job. So if main function is making some function to work, then you call main function as a calling function. Some function will be called as called function. So that is the meaning here. So main function is making some function to work, so you call main function as calling function, some function as the called function. In case of clear screen and getch also, main function is making clear screen function to work, so main function is calling function, clear screen function is called function, and getch is also called as called function because main function is making getch to work. Okay, so in that case what we have to say, how we can define calling function. So here it is their definition: the function which calls or invoke is nothing but to make the other thing to work. So whenever we use word invoke in case of English also, to make the other thing to work, to ignite. Okay, that means making other things to work. Okay, the function which calls or which invokes the called function is called as calling function. The calling function makes called function to work. In the above example, main function is a calling function because main function is making some function to work. So remaining leftover function is there, right? We have considered two functions. The other function is called as called function. So that definition says in this way: the function which is called, which is invoked by calling function is called as called function. Okay, in the above example, some function is called as called function. I hope you people are getting this. Okay, calling function is a function which makes called function to work, and called function is being worked by calling function. Okay, it's like active voice and passive voice. Okay, calling function calls the called function is called by calling function. So in that way also you can understand. Okay, I hope you people got this concept, calling function and called function. Okay, uh, so now we'll go for the one more term called as function call. Okay, see, when you look at the calling function and called function, so what we came to know, so one will be the calling and another one will be the called function, right? So which one we have to call it as calling function, that also we came to know. By looking at this example only we came to know. Main function we have to call it as calling function because this function is making clear screen to work, some function to work, and get ch function to work. If you look at these lines, clear screen with semicolon, s is equals to sum of a comma b, get ch with semicolon. If you look at these three lines, it is making three functions to work: clear screen, sum function, and get ch. Now let us consider two things: main function and sum function. Okay, so main function is causing some function to work. At which line? That is very important. At which line it is causing some function to work? So s is equals to sum of a comma b. At this particular line, main function is making some function to work. That means program control is transferred to the main function. Similarly, at which line clear screen function is working? CLR, SCR, opening parenthesis and closing parenthesis, semicolon. At this line, clear screen function starts working. Okay, so when you consider s is equals to sum of a comma b, or clear screen with opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, semicolon, or get ch with opening parenthesis and closing parenthesis, semicolon, these three lines are called as function call. That means the statement where it is making other function to work, or where program control is transferred to the other function. That particular statement is called as function call statement or function call. So in this example, if you consider main function and sum function, s is equals to sum of a comma b, it is the function call statement, because this line is making the other function, that is sum function, to work. Program control is transferred actually from this line to sum function. So we will see, look at the definition. The statement in a calling function which calls, that means invokes is nothing but to make the called function to work. Okay, the statement in a calling function which calls, that is invokes the called function, is known as function call statement or function call. Okay, I hope you people got this concept. Calling function, called function, function call. So function call statement always it will be present in calling function, because calling function will make the called function to work, right? So when we write the function call statement, in these ways we can write. So these are some of the general formats. In these ways we can write function name with argument list, or function name without argument list. Just a minute. Okay, so if it is not visible properly, I will write it in, right? See, function name without without parameters also we can write. Best example is this only, clear screen and get ch. In case of CLR, SCR, we are not written any parameters here. Opening parenthesis, closing parenthesis, put a semicolon. There is no parameters in that. Okay. In case of get ch also, there are no parameters. In case of sum, we are writing a comma b. Parameters are there. So first format, with arguments you can write, without arguments you can write. Third one, variable is equals to function name of parenthesis without argument. Fourth format is variable equals to function name of argument list. If you look at the last format, this already we have written, s is equals to sum of a comma b. In this case, s is a variable equals to symbol, sum is a function, a and b are parameters or argument list we can consider. So once again I will tell, s is a variable equals to function name, a and b are arguments. So that is the fourth format. So in any of the format we can write depending on the requirement. Okay, it's not like we can write anything. It depends on the requirement. What is the requirement you have to see, and then you have to follow one of the syntax. Okay, in the above example, s is equals to sum of a comma b. This line is called as function call, or we can say function call statement. S is equals to sum of a comma b. In the above example, even we can call clear screen and get stage, but when we consider main function and sum function, then you can say s is equals to sum of a comma b. It is a function call statement. Okay, so now you can take this screenshot. I think up to here. Okay. So now we will move to the definitions of actual parameters and formal parameters. Okay. See, this terms you remember, that means we have come across some things here: function, function definition, function header, function body, calling function, called function, function call. Next we have two more things: actual parameters and formal parameters. See, if you people remember these terms only, then you can write with functions. Okay, that is programs, and even you can understand the C++ programs also, because in C++ everything we will write it in a function only. Okay, the class and objects we will deal with class and objects. There we write with functions only, and in case of Java also, without functions concept you cannot move with one program also in case of Java, because very first program only in Java, there also main function is there. Apart from main function, some more functions we will write it. So functions chapter is very important with respect to C++ and Java. Okay, so I have to remember these terms. Now we'll look at the actual parameters and sorry actual parameters and formal parameters. Okay, so actual arguments, that means arguments are also called as parameters. The arguments which are present in the function call statement of calling function are called as actual arguments. So very simple definition. If you look at the function call statement, s is equals to sum of a comma b, whatever the variables you are using or whatever the constants you are using, you can use here constant also. Instead of a comma b, you can directly say 10 comma 20, or you can use equations also, a plus b comma b plus c. That means calculated value, it is taken as argument. So either use variable or a constant or an expression. Whatever the things you use here, sum of, those things are called as actual arguments. Okay, that is variables or a direct values. The values which are present inside the function call statement of calling function, it's called as actual arguments. Okay, the values of the arguments are copied to the formal parameters. So what happens in this case? What is the purpose of actual arguments? These values are copied to the formal parameters. Okay, you look at the arrow mark. A is copied to A, B is copied to B. Okay. In the above example, in the statement int sum of a comma b, sorry, in the above example, in the statement s is equals to sum of a comma b, the variables a and b are called as actual arguments. So look at the function call statement. In the function call statement, whatever the values or whatever the variables we use, those things are called as actual arguments. Okay. Coming to the formal parameters, the parameters which are present in the function signature of called function. So whenever you want to look at the formal parameters, you look at the called function. If you want to look at the actual parameters, that is actual arguments, you look at the calling function. So for actual arguments will be present in calling function, formal arguments are present in called function. And that too, in the called function, what you have to do? You have to look at the first line, that is function signature. For function header, you have to look into the function signature. There you will come to know the formal parameters. So in this case, a and b in main function or actual arguments, a and b in some function or formal parameters. Okay. Okay. These parameters receive values from the actual arguments. You look at the diagram, arrow marks. So formal parameters will receive the values from actual parameters. Okay. So in the above program, in the statement int sum int a comma b, int a comma int b, the variables a and b are called as formal arguments or formal parameters. Okay. So next comes the categories of functions. Okay. Okay. So now, before we go to the categories of functions, so let us look at the background of that, because we will come to know what things. So how they have categorized the functions. See, when we look at the syntax of function definition, return type or return type specifier. So function name, okay, then parameter list, okay, or argument list, anything. So this is the syntax. Sorry. So then comes the body of the function. So whatever it is, executable statements, declaration, anything. So when we look at these things, we should get a question that when we write the examples by using syntax, is it compulsory to include all the things like return type, function name, parameter list, opening brace, closing brace? Is it compulsory? Then we will get a question. No, it is not compulsory. So how we can write the functions is, first I will tell you compulsory thing what you have to write. So minimum requirement is function name, okay, then parenthesis, then opening brace, closing brace, enough. So this will work. That means I have avoided writing return type, I have not written, parameter list I have not written, and body of the function also I have not written. Just I have written function name, parenthesis, and opening brace and closing brace. If you write this much, that means from the syntax, that's enough. That means we should come to know which are compulsory things and which are not compulsory. When we write the examples, we should know it. Okay. So here return type is not compulsory, arguments is not compulsory. Okay. Function name is compulsory, parenthesis and opening brace and closing brace is compulsory. So Depending on this, that means by keeping this concept in mind, it is categorized into four things. Okay, that means function with arguments and return type. So function with arguments and return type means, like, if I write here int, so this is return type, and if I write here at least one parameter int a, this is parameters. Understood, right? So this int is a return type. Here int a is a parameter list. That is, a is a parameter. Again, I will tell you, the int is a return type, a is a parameter, or I can say arguments. That is the first category. If you are writing functions, you can write with function with arguments and return type. That is the first category. Next category, function with arguments but no return type. So how we can write that? This only I will modify. So if I remove this return type, that is the second category. So function with parameter, I am writing parameter, that is one, at least one parameter a, but I am not writing any return type is a return type, that is data type, int or float or char, nothing I have done. That is the second category. Third category, function with return type but no arguments. So no arguments means when you write the function, you just remove this. Don't write anything in the parenthesis. That indicates no parameters. Okay, if you don't write anything in the parenthesis, that indicates no parameters. But if I write int, that indicates return type. So that is third category. Function with return type, no arguments. Okay. Last one, both are not required. No arguments, no return type. So I think first only have written that. So I will not write anything here. No return type. Okay. In parenthesis also I will not write anything. That is function with no arguments and no return type. So four combinations they have taken. That is one with argument and return type. Both you include. Second, you include argument but no return type. Okay, just I will write part of it. And third one, so don't include arguments. That means don't write arguments, but let return type be. Okay. Fourth one, no arguments. Okay, no return type. So these are the four combinations. That means four categories: arguments and return value, arguments but no return value, arguments, no arguments but has return type, no arguments and no return type. So these categories we got from by looking at the syntax of the function definition. Okay. Okay, we can continue in the next class, because if I start with first category, so it may take at least half an hour to explain the only first category with example. Okay. So let us continue in the next class, that is on Sunday. Okay. Sunday from 11:30 to 1. So if you have any doubts till here, you can ask. So I will be online for 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes. If you have any doubts, you can ask. So anyone from the group, you can unmute from your side and you can ask. It's not a problem. You can speak out. If you have any doubts till here, you can ask. So just feel like offline class and you can ask. It's not a problem. So starting from function definition, that is uh, from the starting till here, if you come across any doubts, you can ask. Starting from term function till actual and formal parameters, anybody, any doubts, can ask.
Out, sir.
Okay. Hello, who is this?